Welcome everyone to episode 1 of Wednesday Night Live. Now broadcasting from our new home, the ZampleBox YouTube channel. We're super excited to be here and hope to help the community with advocacy, hardware, e-liquids, and of course safety. So let's not waste any time and get this show started by me introducing my amazing team and co-host, Brian Power, Tim Swift, Tom Harding, and Madison Jarvis. Hello guys. Hey. How's everybody? And I'm going to have them kind of explain to you guys what their segments will be in future shows. So I'm going to go ahead and start with Brian there.
I do most of the hardware stuff. I actually like to venture around, check out everything, and see how everything works and ticks. It's just a thing I like to do. So I like to show everyone how things work.
All right, thank you, Brian. And then Tommy boy.
Yes. Hi, I'm Tom. I do a segment called Ask Tom, and you can ask me vaping questions, pretty much anything, really.
Personal questions, any kind of questions you want for Tom.
If I know the answer, I'll tell you. If I don't, I'll make something up.
Yeah. And then my man Tim there, Tim Swift.
Hey, everybody. I'm Tim Swift, but you can just call me Swifty if you like. I do the news section, which includes advocacy and all that good stuff. So we try to get everybody involved and pass information on to you with the tap of the newspapers. Are we supposed to tell everybody that we were smokers for X number of years and all that good stuff?
Yeah, you can do that. Yeah.
Right. 32-year smoker, about a pack a day. Been vaping since 2014. And I don't remember what flavor it was, but I'm not smoking. That's all that matters.
That's all that matters. And then my girl, Madison. Hi, Maddie.
Hello. So I don't know. I've been a smoker for a long time. I lost track because I've been a vapor now for almost 13 years. Yeah. Well, I started vaping about 13 years off and on, and then been continuous for quite a while. My segment on the show is mainly about CBD or medical cannabis, on education, safety, benefits, and advocacy for it.
All right. Thank you, guys. And we have two legends, one right now that's here with us.
Yes, hi, I'm Dimitri Agrafiotis. It's good to see everybody. Hello, my fellow vapors. I'm very Greek. I do Greek cooking shows online, and I just want to say that my best friend is the unbelievably talented, incredibly handsome P. Biscardo. I just want to let everybody know that. So, hi.
Can you say something in Greek for us?
Opa.
Opa. That's cheating. That's cheating, Phil. Well, we have two legends. Now I'm laughing. Two legends, Phil and Dimitri, with us. Also tonight, Anthony from ZampleBox, here to welcome us to the channel. Hello, Anthony. Thank you for being here and giving the Wednesday Night Live team this opportunity.
No problem. Thanks for having me. Glad that we can have everyone on here now on Wednesdays. Super excited to kick the show off. I know everyone who hasn't seen the show yet is really going to love it. I think we have a little bit of something out there for everyone. And, then we get special people like Phil over here to fill in all the blank spots.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Hey, I have a question. Are we all on the screen at the same time? Like,
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So, so, John, if you're talking, I shouldn't get up and show myself in my underwear, is what you're saying?
No.
Okay, I just want to make sure of that. Okay, that's good. Hey,
we'll save that. We'll save that for the after show.
Were you in my basement at one point? Was that you, Anthony?
That might have been me. That might
you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anthony,
see that is something that Anthony can claim that none of the rest of you can.
Yes,
Anthony was in the old house in Rochester. So that's cool. Cool to see you again.
I thought this was a no underwear show.
I put pants on for
this. You guys
this.
had pants on?
I put pants on. Oh man. Well, we always start this show off with vaping news and advocacy with Tim Swift, and then we'll get into our special guest, Phil and Dimitri. So off to Timmy. Show's yours, brother.
Broadcasting live from the Renner's Tan back room of my house. So today I'm only going to touch on a few things, but I'm bringing a couple articles to everybody before my glasses fall off here. So I got two news stories for everybody, and then we're going to end on some advocacy because that's really what it's all about. I mean, we're a community, moreover, And more importantly, so we like to bring advocacy stuff, get information out to everybody so they can use their voice where and when needed. So we'll talk about that. All right, so let me share my screen, y'all. All right, so we got 2 articles today. Can you bring that screen in?
Yeah,
there,
I'll
Mr.
bring it up
Tom?
right now. Hold on here.
Thank you, sir.
Boom, boom, boom. I had to switch over to the big screen. There it is.
No, here we go. All right. You need me to make it bigger?
No, yeah, you can if you want, Timmy.
All right, I'll make
Tim.
it a little bit. I'll make it a little bit larger. All right, so I try to use articles. Can you center that, John?
Can I what?
Can you drag that window up just a smidge?
Which window?
The shared window, but maybe it's centered. I don't know.
Yeah, it's centered. Yeah, it's centered.
Okay, never mind. I'll scroll. So the first article that I'm going to talk about tonight was effectively an article that brings or highlights the idea of how vaping and COVID are related and what that impact is, because we hear a lot about that in the news. We hear it in the Twitterverse. It's all over the place. There's a lot of propaganda and things going around. So I try to use sources that are relevant and factual. So these are not coming from garbage places, but some of these may be opinion matters, op-eds or whatever you want to call them. But this article more or less highlights the idea about how we're hearing how vaping somehow makes us more susceptible to COVID-19, which really the no spoiler alert on this particular article is that, across the spectrum of all doctors and people who are looking into it, is that there's no evidence to really prove that at all. So the short answer is no, there's nothing to prove that. So, when you see all the ants stuff on Twitter and everything, you're pretty much just walking right into, their particular hands and how they like to propagandize the whole idea of vaping and how it's going to kill us all. So this article just basically touches on, and I'll provide links for everybody who's interested. If you want to go back and read these articles, I'm just going to cliff note them. I'm not going to get into every little detail about it or read it to you. I'm sorry, that's extra money if you want me to read these as bedtime stories. So, right, exactly. So basically, it just starts off talking about how we're about 7 months into the COVID epidemic, and really we're just kind of being just riddled with all kinds of information. Doctors are still trying to find out exactly what makes us more susceptible, who's more susceptible, how do we cure it, how do we work towards getting towards vaccines. But a lot of the information that's out there that's in the nether really is in a lot of ways highly biased. So either the research that they're doing is from select groups or particular kinds of data gathering situations. So they bring up the subject here where they talk about, and I'll just read this one section. It says, but how do we determine whether all this new research is actually useful, unbiased, and of high quality? And how do we prevent the spread of misinformation due to overinterpreted, low-quality research findings or outright biased research? Leading medical researchers have begun sounding the alarm on the pandemic of bad science, threatening our understanding of COVID-19 and potentially putting people at risk. Case in point, hydroxychloroquine, right? So, I mean, you got certain people on one side of the fence and then you got certain people on the other side of the fence. Somewhere there's some truth in the middle of all that, but we have to make some decisions. However, now, now we kind of get into that area where now they're starting to say, because COVID is predominantly a pulmonary issue, right? It's affecting lungs and capacity and things like that. Immediately, you can tie that to vaping, right? With the Valley cases that happened last year, which have magically disappeared. Although I do see people kind of putting feelers out there, wondering if maybe some of the first cases of COVID weren't actually the Valley. But we know it has a strain and it can be determined. So no, that's not an answer either. However, because of the Valley cases and the compromising of the lungs, they're trying to say that people who vape, and vaping is a verb, right? So, yeah. I mean, it's not specifying what we're vaping, although most of us vapers here would understand that we've been doing it years and years and years, and none of us have ended up in the hospital or on lung machines because is that what they call them anymore? Lung machines, iron lungs? Is that what they put us in when you're vaping? Anyhow, so what they're trying to point out is there's now a lot of wasted research with doctors wasting time and money trying to exclusively tie vaping back to COVID-19 and saying that we're more susceptible to it, when in fact that's not even, there's nothing to really substantiate that. The observational data that they're gathering is subject to all kinds of biases. So there's really nothing they can put their finger on. They're pretty much just looking at specific test variables and saying that, oh, well, yeah, because EVALI compromised the lungs, COVID compromises the lungs. If you're vaping, certainly you're going to be more susceptible to catching COVID-19. That's absolutely not the truth. We know that we're slathered with all kinds of panic information that are out there, such as popcorn lung, which no one's gotten. There's no cases of popcorn lung in the vaping world. I think this article pretty much highlights, moreover, how the media is distorting the information that's out there, and the susceptible people are not the vapers, right? We kind of know what we're talking about. We research it. We know the truth. We've looked into everything. Exactly. And one of the people watching the show mentioned that vaping has actually improved their lung capacity or their ability to breathe. I think all of us can share in that same sentiment. Yep. We're not wheezing and hacking up phlegm and all that. However, it gets out in the media, and the susceptible people are the people that don't know anything about vaping. And I think we have a unique responsibility as vapers to try to educate people as best we can. But it's difficult when you have just all kinds of the media's out there just making it really bad for all of us to try to have that discussion when people are locked into thinking that we're all going to basically be 6 feet under pushing up daisies here before too long over, blueberry donut vape juice. So, but again, we all know that the media distorts the picture. But I found this to be really interesting because there was an article that was put out by an author, Catherine J. Wu, who is a PhD in microbiology and immunobiology. You say that 10 times fast. Her article, and I'm sorry, it was on the New York Times or something. I don't have a subscription. But in this article, you can link out and read her article. But she was talking about arguing, saying that she said, as a scientist, she should know that leading scientists have argued for increased access to vape nicotine due to its lower risk compared with smoking and resulting potential to saving lives. But she only interviewed doctors or pulmonologists who are absolutely against vaping. So her article is entirely biased, right? It's not looking at both sides of the argument. She's not getting people who have a more objective view to vaping and its benefits. She also cited, out of 27 different articles that she referenced, only one of the articles that she actually pulled as a source looked at the connection between vaping and COVID-19. And in fact, it was only a small online survey that was conducted very early on and was already pointed out by other people peer reviewing it, saying that the survey had flaws in it. So this woman is out just basically, she must be getting some money somewhere. That would be an assumption, but I don't understand why she had such a biased approach to it. She also uses that whole shock factor thing where she starts taking worst case scenario studies from a couple different people. One person, Jana Moen, in fact, admitted right here, it said, of Moen, 22 years old, writes, he was blowing through several THC laced cartridges a week, more, he said, than most people can handle. Several THC cartridges per week. So at any rate, this is an interesting article. I think it's worth the time to understand where the biases are coming from, understand how they're compiled and what gets put out into the nether. So if you happen to see people talking about a link between vaping and COVID-19, there's actually no inherent proven link that if you vape, you're going to get COVID-19 or you're more susceptible to getting COVID-19. So interesting article. I suggest you read it. It's worth the information. So I'm going to move on because I don't want to ramble too long. The next one I thought was important because when do we get to see this happen too often?
Right? This was a big one.
Yeah, this was a big story that was out there because it was pushed. dare I say, one of the names associated to the initial report was Stanton Glantz. So I'm sure there's plenty of people watching the show right now that probably know who he is. He's like he's like the villain in town. He has an absolute bias against vaping, and he's out to try to take us down. So if anybody cares to know, he's back out on Twitter. I guess he left his last position, but he's got a new Twitter page. So if you're on Twitter and you want to talk to somebody and give them the what for, go find Stanton Glantz on Twitter. Anyway, the story that was retracted was an initial story that was circulated last June. And this was the crux of the issue. It said, after months of pressure from the scientific community, the American Heart Association's academic journal on Tuesday evening retracted a widely circulated vaping study which claimed that using e-cigarettes increased the likelihood of having a heart attack. And I haven't had one yet from vaping. So, but everything's always surnamed with may, could, can, might, right?
Yeah.
It said last June, the authors Stanton Glantz and Dharma Bhatta of the University of California, San Francisco stated in the original study that vaping and smoking cigarettes posed a similar risk, while doing both at the same time was an even more dangerous option. Following its publication in the summer, the peer-reviewed research was referenced by major news organizations, the media, CNN, Yahoo News, and the USA Today, and they started putting that out into the nether. And of course, you get everybody freaking out, and your mom's calling you, and she knows you vape, and she doesn't want you to, seize up and end up on the floor. However, it did come to light, and the Journal of the American Heart Association, JAHA, expressed worry that the study may have been based on misleading data. The editors were concerned that the study conclusion is unreliable, they wrote. JAHA pulled the paper after Brad Rodu, that's like Sudoku, a tobacco control expert at the University of Louisville, noted that many of the vapers Glantz and Bhatta analyzed for the study were also current or former smokers. Rodu argued that there was a possibility that the use of combustible cigarettes is what made them more likely to suffer heart attacks. And that's absolutely true. So there was no way for Stanton and his partner to pull information based on people that were removed from smoking and had been vaping for years. Basically, what they were encountering is a lot of people that were involved in dual usage or had quit vaping and gone back to smoking. Maybe they were recently vaping. But it's important to point out this was a full retraction. Basically, they pulled this entire story. Unfortunately, dare I say, the damage has already been done because, not a lot of people are going to know about the retraction, which a lot of us don't ever get wind of that unless the media tells us it was retracted. But this is big news, only because there obviously are people that are in our court and fighting for us, right? So, there are people that are seeing bogus and bunk science out there, and they're bringing it to people's attention. So if you hear about Stanton's study last year and that, people that vape are susceptible to heart attacks, it's bunk. It's been debunked, and the paper has been retracted. I don't think there's too much yet to wrap up. It is, I guess I'll point out that Rodu and Glantz basically are, they fight a lot. They don't trust the other. So, it's the same old song and dance. This guy hates that guy. This guy thinks he's right. So does that guy. I'm going to side with Rodu on this one. My money is on Rodu. I think that this is worth a lot more research going down the line. And I hope that research gets in there and that where everyone gets to hear the truth eventually. So that wraps up the news portion. Again, I'll provide those links for everyone. But now I want to move on to some advocacy that's always prominent in our world. Everyone knows about the rallies in D.C. John, you want me to share the article, John? You shut me down there, buddy.
Oh, there you go.
That's. I'm not reading off a teleprompter, I promise. However, advocacy is important because it is our one opportunity as vapers or fellow vapers to get our voices heard, right? So whether it's calling the White House hotline or the phone lines, whether it's showing up at the hearings and things like that. There's two that I wanted to bring to light, and these specifically target people in Oregon and Colorado. And because we're wrapped up in a presidential election, it's interesting to note that these two particular issues are on the table for the November 3rd election. So it's this is your chance to actually put your voice to paper. You can squash these measures. Basically, both of these measures, Oregon is getting ready to move on Measure 108. Colorado is getting to move on Prop EE. I don't know why they can't just all use numbers or all just use letters, but I'm not here to sort out that mess for you. All I'm saying to you, to the people in Oregon and Colorado, these are basically tax initiatives, right? These are ballooning tax initiatives that are going to extend out into 2027. So when you go to the booth, or you vote early, or you are going to the polling locations, these will appear on your ballot, and it's simply a yes or a no. Either you want your vape stuff taxed, or you don't, right? And the ballooning taxes start out somewhere in the neighborhoods of, I think, about of a 30% tax increase. And by the time we get to 2027 in Oregon and Colorado, if these propositions stick, because who knows when we'll be able to repeal them, I'm going to guess at some point in the future, maybe 2027, you're looking at a 65% tax increase on your vaping products. So that means your e-liquid, that means your coils, that means anything coming into your state that's vape related, unless they can sneak stuff under the table, that's all going to be taxed.
It's going to be double the price.
Yeah, 65%. So I mean, think about that. Bottle of juice that you like to buy that's $15 now, you're gonna be paying $30 for it. You got that mod that's $50, you're gonna be paying $100. There's other things in play here, but I simply think that people owe it to themselves, and you all have a strong voices to get out there and vote no on these propositions in Oregon and Colorado. So for the Oregon voters, on your ballot, that's Measure 108, vote no. And no on Prop EE in Colorado. These are both vape taxes. So make your voices heard. And then finally, I'm going to scroll back up here to this one, because everybody just loves this lady.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, if I can find her here. Hold on. She was in here before. Where's good old Retchin? I know she's in this list here somewhere. I don't know. She disappeared. It was, or maybe it's in the calls to action section.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's not important. Michigan vapers. Good old Retchin is back to her old tricks. She got shut down by the Supreme Court of Michigan and trying to get her vape ban passed under an executive order, but she's now hired on the health department to try to enforce a vape ban in Michigan, right? Or at least a flavored e-liquid ban. And I don't know if it's a quantitative ban. However, starting on the 20th, which is already beyond us, that's when the commentary section opened up. I urge you to go over to CASA and maybe find it in the calls to action. Let's look in the national section. Maybe that's where it is. It's not there, but it's on there somewhere. But commentary was opened up on the 20th. There was basically like a Microsoft Live meeting where you could submit your commentary. But you can also go to CASA and get your links from there. But the lines are open until the 23rd. So if you want to save vaping in Michigan and shut old Retchin down, don't abduct her. You know what happens if you try to abduct her? You end up in jail. But just vote. Just get your voice heard, and find out what you need to know about being able to get your comments out until the 23rd. So you got 2 days to speak up. And I'm going to send it back to John in the studio. That's the end of our news section.
Brian, what
would this be the second or third time she's tried to squash vaping in Michigan?
Third time.
This will be her third time. She tried it once. She got shut down. She tried it a second time.
So everyone really pay attention with that one. I mean, she looks like she's trying to use every excuse in the book to try to do something.
All right. So we're going to get to our guest here. So when Tony asked me who was going to be our first guest on the new channel, my mind went right to these two gentlemen. One is here right now. So our special guest on our first episode of Wednesday Night Live here on the ZampleBox YouTube channel is Phil and Dimitri. These two gentlemen have been a big part of the vaping community as consumers, advocates, product reviewers, and also with product innovation. Also, let me add a big reason for my success and many others in being smoke-free. So welcome to the show, Phil, and thank you for being here tonight.
So nice. That was so nice. Thank you guys, and thank you for thinking of me and Dimitri for the first show. We certainly appreciate that. Dimitri right now he's like, usually this is me. Usually I'm the one that battles like the media tech. Dimitri's now battling the media tech, and I've been texting him and.
Do you want me to send him another link?
I'm enjoying the fact that he can't get online because it will give me something to pick on him about.
Yeah.
Usually it's him picking on me about something.
Yeah.
Whether it be my shoes or like like my age. So yeah, that's kind of good. And I see he tried 3 cameras, he tried Wirecast. So, Dimitri, if you're watching,
does he have the link? Does he have the link? Does he need it?
He absolutely has the link. Yeah. So, I know you even said just bring him in with just audio. So, if you could just come in with just audio, try that.
Yeah.
But, I want to talk about real quick, part of that news piece that you did, right? Because on my Facebook page, I put a similar article, and it was about the retraction of the study. Right. And it was a major anti-vaping scientific study retracted. This was from National Review. And I took a quote out of there. And the quote is this: if the scientists want to understand why many people are increasingly reluctant to blindly follow the science, they should look in the mirror. Okay. Now, somebody, I think, got a little offended by me posting that and maybe pulling out that quote. And they said, Phil, science is self-correcting. Okay. The problem is with the media. Science is self-correcting. You see, I'm repeating myself. You can see that this was retracted. So science is self-correcting. Yeah, but you said it, Swifty. The damage is already done.
The damage is done.
Yes.
Because you know what? When the news is bad, you fucking scream it off the rooftops of buildings, right? But when it gets retracted, they say, "Oh, by the way, we made this mistake and we're
yeah." It's usually at the back page.
Here's it.
It's always under the covers. You never hear about
it. It's always the back cover, the last page where the retractions are. So yeah, that's typical.
We were talking about this on the Smoker Show. How can you publish a news article that's full of maybe, might, and needs to be researched? How is that news? How is maybe, might, could be, we're not sure, but here's the story.
Do you think it's because of the new media format? Now that everything is online, it's on Twitter, it's not a paper anymore. I almost feel like the guys back in the days that were writing for the paper made sure what they wrote was right because it was on paper and it wasn't on some site that can be edited within 10 minutes, or a Twitter account that can be pulled down at any time. And it just seems like now they just feel like, it's just going to Twitter.
Right. And you know what? I think John, I think you're absolutely right. I think, first of all, I truly believe right now, and I'm not talking about like CNN, just CNN, or like just Fox. I'm talking about all of it. I'm talking about all of it. I truly believe, because there was something that I said when COVID started, right? And I said, you know what? The one thing you haven't canceled, the one thing you haven't closed down is truly the one thing that I believe can cure this country in so many ways. And that is mainstream media in its current format. Okay? Because it perpetuates violence. It perpetuates drugs. It perpetuates racism. It splits this country right down the middle, and it's got to stop.
Yeah,
it's got to stop. And I truly believe that mainstream media is the enemy of the people. And I think it's really, because really news now is like that much fact and all opinion.
Yeah.
Right. And It's insane what's going on. And you're right. There is not just one newspaper where they're trying to get it right. They're trying to be factual, and you're giving that. But unfortunately, now you get news from everywhere. It's coming. It's hitting you in every media, every format, every device that you have. And it's like you got to kind of sift through it all to find out what the truth is. But the problem is, it's sometimes hard to understand the truth. Like if I wasn't in vaping, if I was not a vapor, if I hadn't been vaping since 2009 and know what I know, right?
Yeah.
I would question vaping.
Yep.
Based on everything that I see in the news, I would question. Absolutely, I would.
Yeah.
Right. If I was a smoker right now, everything that I'm hearing, oh my God, if I vape, I'm going to get COVID. If I vape, I'm going to die of a volley. If I vape, I'm going to like my nuts are going to fall off. I wouldn't vape. Right.
Yeah.
And I think that is what's key. That is something that Dimitris worked on at one point. That is something that we should be very focused on.
Yep.
The advertising and the negative media that is constantly coming against vaping needs to be combated with positive and truthful information about vaping. See, and that's the beauty of it, is that we have truth on our side.
Yeah.
We have facts on our side that this truly is tobacco harm reduction. I don't want to hook kids. That's not the goal. I don't want to hook a new generation on nicotine products. But if you're a smoker and you've tried all the normal, typical cessation devices and nothing's worked, please try this. Please give it a shot.
Yeah. I think that I would only want to add one small point to that, and this kind of coattails off what you were saying, Phil, is that, you know, the media really is kind of splitting us, because if you really look at all of them down the line, pick anyone you want to, they all tend to be one-sided in some way, right? So they all have an agenda that they're pushing, whether that be political or otherwise.
Agenda is a key word there, yeah.
Right, the agendas. The one thing that seems to be not partisan is the vaping argument, because when all that happened, everybody was saying the same thing. So we even had to fight a dual war, because we didn't even have one news source that was really on our side at all. It didn't matter what spectrum you were on. Everybody was against vaping when the Valley hit. Everybody was reporting on it. Right. So it's unfortunate that that's what we're subjected to. So it would be nice to have someone kind of get on the news and have an objective report to that, you know, or at least counter what the negativity.
Right, and that's what we're missing, and that costs money.
Yeah, that costs money.
Like, you know, reports on CNN, right? You would like to think that they're free. No, it costs money. It's advertising. CNN is advertising.
Yep.
Okay,
Yeah.
Fox News is advertising. So you need advertising dollars, big advertising dollars, to get our side of the story out there, whether it be in mainstream media or just commercials we produce ourselves. But it needs to be, all that negative needs to be combated with truth. And unfortunately, the industry has failed miserable at that. You know, so Brian, he's got a sign behind him, right?
Yeah, he does.
I got one. Vote. Right? I got one too. You know what? I support this and I fucking hate it at the same time.
Yeah.
You know why? Because it shouldn't be about vape voting, and it shouldn't be about political, and it shouldn't be about anything. It should be about the fact that this is 95% safer than a cigarette, and it could save your life. Period.
Yes.
Period. But everything is political these days.
Everything's got to be. That's the only time anyone listens anymore. Well,
right?
this time of the year.
Why isn't that enough? Why isn't that enough? Why isn't the fact that we can save people's lives, that it's safer, right? Why isn't that enough? But it's not, because it's politics and because money.
We don't have the studies. We don't have the data. The proof is in the pudding. You know, previous to ZampleBox in my vape shop, I watched thousands upon thousands of people come in and quit smoking with vapor products. There's the study right there. They quit smoking. The proof is in the pudding. The proof is in the community of vapors that is out here. You know,
but it's not only in the pudding there, right? I mean, it's also in the studies that we've seen come from overseas, right? But unfortunately, you know, our lungs are very different from, you know, the lungs that are overseas, so that doesn't count. Yeah. And, you know, I was really enjoying being on here and like getting my voice heard and being able to talk. And it's all fucking over now. It's all over now. That's all over now. So I hope everybody enjoyed what I had to say because it's all over now. Okay.
Zeus has joined. Zeus has joined the podcast. So.
I'm so frustrated. I am so frustrated with this StreamYard. I always have problems with it. I don't know why. I mean, I give it access here, I give it access there, everywhere, and none of my stuff is working. And I had to use my detector too.
It actually works best with Chrome. I don't know if you were using Chrome.
I was using Chrome. I use Chrome. I use Edge. I use Firefox. I tried it all. Let me tell you something.
Phil's giving you the.
I think it was the FDA blocking.
Yeah, they knew you were coming.
You're bouncing off the International Space Station right now.
You don't want to give these guys too much time. That's what happened. We can only have one of you at a time.
Thanks for having us, though. We appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm really glad to have both of you guys too for our first episode, and Phil's been a big part of my journey, and I just if I thought about who I wanted to be on first, and it was just there it goes the tears. So I was like, Phil's got to be first, and Dimitri's got to come along. And so I'm just glad you're both here. So we're going to start the Q&A section, but I cannot start the Q&A section without this video.
Oh boy.
Here we go.
Oh, look at that guy. Oh,
Look at that guy.
Oh my God.
This thing's about to kill you.
Sound, John.
Oh, okay. Hold on.
Wow.
Yeah, let me add the sound here. I always forget to do the sound.
I don't know who's. I was a huge Sopranos fan.
Yeah.
Top 3 shows of all time, in my opinion. And he looks in that video like every Kumar that went and got killed in the episode. Like the bouncer. He looked exactly like every one of them.
Perfect face.
There he is. You should hear it now.
My opinions will always be honest and truthful.
Oh
and
my God, I'm huge.
So, ordered some stuff from Jason over at Electronic Sticks. There's his business card. Jason's got great prices. He's got super fast shipping. I usually get my cargoes within 2 days.
Holy fuck, I'm bored already.
We're talking about cardos.
The YouTube algorithms just went down there, right? They gave Phil the first 32 seconds. Just Dimitri gave you the first 32 seconds, and then he skipped over to Grimm's video.
Don't you wish that all his videos were 1 minute and 45 seconds, though, by the way? I just want to put that out there.
As I progressed in my journey, I used to tell everybody I used to get my dinner ready. And I would get it all cooked and ready. I'd put the dish out in front of my desk. I would turn Phil on because I know I was going to spend at least 45 minutes to an hour eating my dinner, drinking my wine, and watching Phil.
You should have watched me while you were cooking too. You would save some time.
I could work on my car, have dinner, put a fap session inside, and then still have like 15 minutes left over for
I'm better now. I'm better now. My videos are.
I will tell you something. I know a lot of people beat up on Phil, but I'm going to tell you something, and I'm not blowing smoke up his ass. I'm just telling you this because I don't say it enough. I've known Phil almost my entire vaping journey, almost 9 years now, and he has not swayed from that path of trying to help people quit smoking with entertainment videos, but factual videos, trying to connect to the viewer. And I think it's something that a lot of us that started reviewing back in 2010 and 2011 all had in our hearts. And I think that a lot of people kind of veered off from it. I mean, and I get it's become more commercialized, more of presentations now than reviews. In fact, I'm just going to give you an example. The Chroma Z reviewer samples got in Greece this morning, which is Tuesday morning in Greece, at my store in Greece. And I told some of the reviewers, go by and pick them up. A guy had a review on it up 3 hours later from when you picked it up.
You want it to be first, Dimitri.
And I was like, dude, what are you doing? I said, you haven't even used the device. It's just unbelievable. But I have to give it to Phil. In our private conversations, he always struggles with that. He's like, man, I'm just trying to keep it real and keep the integrity that I've built over all these years. And I don't care about the numbers, and I don't care about the views, and I just want to make sure that I'm going to put some good and accurate information out there for people that are looking to quit smoking. And that's admirable, in my opinion, in this day and age in the vaping community in 2020 that's become so commercialized. I think that's admirable, and that's one of the things that I respect and I love about Phil.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the reviewers have kind of over the years, is what I've noticed. A lot of them have skipped a lot of things, and when I would watch Phil's videos, I knew that product inside and out. I knew how to use the menu. I knew how to put the coils in. I knew what to look for if it was leaking. I knew to look in the packaging and see what was missing. And a lot of reviewers, I mean, they've gotten away from showing us the menus on most of the mods. They don't even do menus anymore.
Yeah.
So, and I know a lot of us are power users, but there's still a lot of us that still want to know how to use the what do they call it now? Well, what do you call it called? Yeah, they call it, what does DNA call it now?
Yeah, it's TCR, isn't it?
No, they got that new
Temperature control.
replay.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, a lot of those reviewers have really kind of gotten away from that, and it's basically, here's the box. This is what's supposed to be in it, and there's very few of you guys that are left that are actually doing builds. I think I
will tell you though, John, it's okay if you're going to do a presentation.
Yeah,
just be honest about it. Just
Right.
say, hey guys, I'm just going to show you the box. This is what comes with it. I vaped it. It vapes pretty good, or I didn't like this about it. But to call it a review at this point, I don't think that they are reviews. And I'm talking about 90%, not everybody, but 90% of the big name reviewers don't review. I mean, the Aries tank that me and Phil designed literally has laser engraved MTL RTA with huge letters on the bell. Right? Everybody's complaining about the over branding, but nobody actually can read because everybody's trying to direct log it. It says MTL on the bell. I mean, it drives me nuts. It's stuff like that frustrates me a lot. I just want to jump to the screen and I'm like, didn't you read the bell? You just complained about it.
Yeah. So
airflow on this RDA. Well, yeah, because it's MTL. I mean, come on.
People try to direct lung it, and they're like, "Well, it doesn't do direct lung." I'm like, "Well, it does not. It's not designed to do."
First of all, Dimitri, thank you very much for the kind words. And there is something that you said there that I totally agree with. You said I don't say it nearly enough, so yeah, I totally agree with that. But no, I mean, okay. So a lot of people will say, Phil, this is bullshit, but it's not, okay? Because when I do the reviews, I'm thinking about the one person who's never vaped before. I'm thinking about the one person who's never used a device before. I'm thinking about that one person who never put a coil in an atomizer before. That's the person that I'm thinking about. That's why I go through the menus. That's why I spend the time that I do going through some of that stuff and showing the signal, saying, okay, well, you can do this on the menu, but this is actually what it does. This is when you make that change, this is what happens, and this is how it affects your vape. So that one person is worth, it means so much more to me than 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, 40,000, 50,000 views. It does. Yeah. I have been lucky enough, I have been fortunate enough, I've been blessed enough that I didn't have to count for reviewing to earn a living.
Right.
Okay? So, I mean, I understand why other guys, are doing it the way they're doing it. And I understand the importance to make money. And I think it's okay that people make money with reviews. I make money if somebody wants to put their device in front of another device. I've always said that. I don't care. But I just want as much like good information to be in there. And I want people to know that it's that one person that means a lot more to me than the numbers or the subscribers. Because I've been at shows where I've sat down with reviewers and they were all talking about like the statistics and the YouTube numbers and this and that, and they were the numbers from it, like where they pull from. And I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, that would stress the fuck out of me. I wouldn't be able to to do the review and think about all that shit at the same time, right? Yeah. But that's where their minds are. Their minds are on the statistics. Of how many people are looking at them versus the information that they're putting out, and some guys are putting out really good product. I mean, shit, Daniel does an amazing job with his videos.
Yes, he does.
Fantastic. His videos look fantastic, but Daniel started out very, very different from where he is. What his videos look like today, right?
He did very much so. Yeah, because I went from I used to watch you and his videos. And in the beginning, pretty much it was when I started learning to build, and I think most of us on this panel, when we started learning to build, we kind of went to Rip Tripper's videos.
Absolutely.
And the camera angles, the way he explained things back then were just made it so easy for me as a new vapor who's making that transition from pre-factory coils to my own coils, I was just like, thank God, I'm going to save some money here. But yeah, I think a lot of those guys have forgotten, and I get it. This new generation of people that are on YouTube, it's give me something now, quickly, and entertain me, make me laugh, make me smile, and move on. Where the attention span is, a minute, 30 seconds. Quickly get it in, get it out, and you can't do that, especially like you said, when you almost have to do a video, like you're saying, Phil, is a new vapor, and that's what was special with your videos, is because I knew if the tank was leaking, I knew what you had told me to look for, and I knew if my coil was grounding out, I knew something was wrong, and you told us in the video, look for the chimney, it's hitting the chimney, or your leads are too long. So let me ask you this first question here for you, Phil, and let's see here. I highlighted in red. What was your reason for starting your YouTube channel? What made you make that transition? Because you were in a whole different field altogether.
Yeah. So the reviews actually started on ECF. They were textual reviews. They were written reviews, right? And the reason why I was doing that, I was basically copying, because when I started vaping, I used to go to, this is back in 2009. This is like before all the vape shops, before the explosion of vaping, right? And I would go to a party, and it was really interesting, right? Because I would go to a party and I would have my vape, and everybody would be like, "Oh my, what is that? Yeah. What is that? That is the coolest thing." And I would talk to them. I would tell them about it. Friends who were smokers who tried to quit in other ways, right? They got involved. They got interested. And what I would do is I had an email D-list, that when I tried something new or a liquid that I liked, I would send it to all my friends. And then I started saying, all right, well, I'll just embellish it a little bit and I'll write it and put it on ECF. And then, watching guys like Nick, because Nick's been doing it forever. Nick is like one of the first guys that I watched. Scott, I Get You 69. You were talking about coil builds, right? Yeah. My first coil build was watching Scott. I Get You 69, right? Do like joining resistance and no resistance wire together to put a coil in one of Emio's ridiculously complicated.
Yeah, it was.
Plus 18 O-rings.
Yeah, 18 O-rings, right? So that's where it started out. It started out on ECF, and then I've told the story so many times. I was DJing at the time too, so I was an engineer full time. That was my career. And I was also DJing in a nightclub. I had quit DJing, right? I had all the video editing skills because I wanted to be the first DJ that video mixed video, right? That's what I wanted to beat mix videos. So I did that. So I had to take the radio version of the video and turn it into the extended 12-inch version of the video. So that's where all the video editing came from. And I missed that creative aspect. I missed that. I wasn't entertaining people when I wasn't DJing, right? Yeah. So I said, hey, let me make these videos, right? And maybe I could combine some of the technical side of Phil Basardo and some of the entertaining and fun side of Phil Basardo. Let's put it together. Let's put it out there, and maybe I could teach people some things as they're smiling.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's the best way. The best way to learn is you're laughing, you're having a good time, and you're learning at the same time, right? Yeah. I think that's good. So that's really where it started. That's where it started.
All right, Brian.
Well,
you had a Dimitri question.
Yeah. So I have questions for everybody, and we kind of compile lists, but I actually had a question. I was kind of waiting for Dimmy to come on first. It's kind of change the question. But anyways, through the years, have you felt your life has changed since in the industry?
Oh, boy. My personal life?
Yeah. No, like your personal life or, or professional. It depends on how you want to think about it, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, look, this industry has changed everything for me. I mean, I was in the restaurant business for 23 years. I sold my restaurant 3 years ago because, I couldn't be there. I was traveling with Phil 120, 130,000 miles a year, right? So obviously I'm in the business itself, but advocating has taken a lot out of my life and my family as well, too. Advocating is the hardest non-paying job in the industry, right? Because we don't get paid to do what we do, whether we do it with a state association or fellow trade groups or international, where people ask us to come and help and talk to legislators or scientists. So yeah, definitely my life has changed, but I will tell you, it has changed for the better. I'm happy what I'm doing whether I'm getting paid or not, I really enjoy the vaping. I mean, if I can provide for my family, obviously is first, but anything that has to do with vaping, when it's a positive thing, when we're moving forward and we're making change, I really, really enjoy. Now, on the other hand, I've been hurt the last couple of years here in the United States because I've seen vaping be decimated by obviously our opposition, right? Which has put a strong PR fight against us for the last couple of years, but also from the industry itself. You know, we just seem to be, and I get it, we're still immature. I'm just, a decade industry, but it seems like everything we do is just like we get I don't know if you've seen that GIF, the little kid that takes a Nerf gun and shoots it in balls. It's hilarious. Like I watch it every time I'm sad, I watch it for like 20 minutes. That's exactly what the vaping industry does. It's like we follow these trends based on vapors, and we've done this since 2015, 2016, and in that span, we forgot about the smokers in America, and it's a shame. It's a shame. Today, I made a huge announcement that Inikin partnered up with the EFL Soccer League in the UK, and they're going to make the switch for Stoped-Umber, which is in the UK. They're going to run ads in these special kits that we have created with Phil to help people in the UK quit smoking in the National Soccer League in the UK. It's going to be on TV. It's going to be
awesome,
right? And here in America, we're selling puff bars, 50 milligrams. I mean, I'm just keeping it real, guys. This is because this is the trend, right? In 2017, we were selling Baby Beast tanks and 3 gallons of liquid. All those products are fine to be in the industry, but nobody's going to quit with them, right? We don't have balance, and that has been. Honestly, and I think I speak for Phil on this as well too. If you ask us one thing that we hate about this industry is that we forgot about the smokers in the United States. So that's really affected me personally because I went on this journey to help people quit smoking.
No, I actually really agree. I smoked for 12 years, and when I worked at shops, my main goal was when the smokers would come in, they want to switch. My goal was to help them quit and keep them quitting, and that was every single time. That one person, I'd rather have that one person transition over versus 50 who were just in it just for the clouds and all that stuff. That was my goal.
Do you agree that you went through a journey to get to a happy vaping place? Like you went through, all these steps, the highway that Phil talks, and we took all these exits. We did, tubes, we did variable voltage, we did, we took all these exits. But through that journey, what we learned is that vaping is great, man. There's a pleasure in vaping, right? It's not a task. It's not a drug. It's a pleasure principle. And all that just was thrown out the window. It's like, here, take a 50 milligram disposable, or here, take a Juul, or, it's just, you can't educate people on what vaping is and what that journey is to keep them engaged and stay off cigarettes by just giving them a product and sending them home. It's just not going to work.
No.
And I commend you, Brian, and I wish more vape shops in America did it. But the truth is, they just don't do it anymore. And everybody's kind of veered off. Most of the vape shops in America now are hybrid. There's CBD, there's pipes, they're selling Delta 8 in vape shops, right? Like nobody has a problem with that. Nobody has a problem. Just last year, we were getting attacked about Evali, which was THC carts, and now we're selling THC carts. This is the kind of stuff the Nerf gun comes out and just
right.
Again, it's the same thing over and over again. I sound like I'm really angry, but I'm not.
No, you're not.
What's interesting, like Dimitri just talked about Delta 8. And I showed him this. I copied it and pasted this. Somebody just came to me and said, "Hey Phil, would you be interested in reviewing this?" And it's Delta 8 e-liquid, right? Yeah.
Oh.
And I'm like, do you know me? I mean,
do you know who I be?
Really think that I would review something like? And he's like, I had to ask, and I think this is part of the problem. I think this is the part of the problem in the United States. Okay. And I'm torn about this problem. I'm torn because I understand that people need to make a living. Right. And I understand that because of all the negative media and the Evali and everything that's going on, is that it's becoming difficult for people to earn a living doing this vape thing. So the stores are becoming hybrid. the increase in CBD. Now this Delta 8, the flour, like all the glassware, everything.
Glassware,
you know, here's the problem. There's going to be a day in the future, in the future, when all of that's okay, because it's going to be more and more accepted, right? THC is going to be just like alcohol someday, right? It's just something that people do. That is not today.
Yeah.
It's just not today. It's just reality, guys. Look, it's just reality. So it is still looked at negatively from some people. There is still a negative stigma that goes along with it, right? So when you see that vape shop that had every good intention, that sold you the nicotine e-liquid, that sat you down and talked to you and guided you to get you off of the cigarettes, when you walk into that shop today and it's a head shop, that is going to look negatively towards vaping. I wished it wasn't that the case, but it is the case.
It is the case.
It is the case, and it's destroying a lot of what we've created here.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that
here is and I'm going to be a little bit more blunt than Phil. Phil is very diplomatic. He's like the land of vaping, but I'm going to be a little bit more blunt. I just want to make a clarification. Me and Phil are not against, the green lettuce. We're not against it at all.
Yeah.
But we're selling a combustible pre-rolled CBD in a place called Vape Shop.
Yeah.
Like, am I the only one that sees that it's it's something that you light on fire in a place that is labeled as a vape shop?
Yeah.
That's going to deter smokers from going in for harm reduction. Okay, they might go in to get products. I'm not saying that, but as far as harm reduction is concerned, especially adults in their 40s, 50s, 60s, those that really need to quit smoking because they've been smoking for 20, 30 years, 40 years, they need the most help. They're not going to go into the vape shops. They feel intimidated by that.
Well, I know I was intimidated even before that issue, just walking into a vape shop, 9 years ago, because it was just like I was walking into this, sea of 19-year-olds that were kind of all sitting at this bar, and here I got cash in my hand. I tell the story all the time. I got cash in my hand. I'm trying to order my e-liquid because they used to mix it there. And I'm standing there and he's totally ignoring me while he's taking care of these 30 people that are sampling juice for 2 hours. So I was just kind of like, what am I doing? What am I doing here?
I could tell stories like that too, John. I remember walking into a vape shop and I had a duck underneath two guys that were creating braided wire. One was on one side of the shop, the other one was on the other. The guy was holding the wires like this, and the other guy had a screwdriver. And I literally had to go underneath the wire to get to the counter. I'm like, yeah, this is really, good for that side of the business, sure. Yeah. Good for the adult smoker who wants to quit, smoking or vaping, probably not so good, right?
There's been a lot of mistakes. Me and Phil are writing a book. I don't know if Phil told you before I got in, but me and Phil are writing a book. We just don't know when we're going to release it because a lot of people. So it might have to go after we retire. But let's not forget, in California, there was 3,000 vape shops.
Yep.
Right? And when you walked into the vape shop, there was a freaking drill press on the counter. This is just 3 years ago, folks. It's not like 100 years ago, right? Yep. So I'm just taking, maybe I'm old. I don't know. I'm 49 now. But if I walked into a vape shop and I had a guy there drilling out, I'm like, what the hell is going on here? This is not a problem that started now. It started in what I call the rise and fall of vaping. Those golden black years, 2016 to 2018 is really when it started, because vape shops turned into, you couldn't find over 6 milligram liquid in a vape shop. And me and Phil released an MTL atomizer when nobody in America MTLs anymore, right? In 2017. So they said, everybody was saying to us, oh, we don't have any demand for 12 milligram liquid. And I'm like, don't you have any new customers that come into your store? Yeah. All you have is vapers?
Yeah.
They're going to run, even a funeral home, if it doesn't have new customers, it's going to close down, buddy. You can't depend on this. So yeah, a lot of it's going to go into keep on the book, a lot of those mistakes, but it is what it is. We have to for it.
Well, yeah.
We're going to jump to Tim's question. Go ahead, Tim.
All right. Mine is going to be a real heavy question. So you guys can both pick this one up because I think it applies. I'll add to John a little bit. I'm almost 99.99% confident it was Phil who led me down the path of actually making my first round wire coil in my K-Fun.
Yeah.
So I mean, we're going back a ways on that one. But I used to watch Phil and Dimitri relentlessly. It was you two guys all the time to learn everything that I needed to
we
learn.
were the only ones at the time. It's just only
Okay.
5 reviewers at the time.
I have a question though. Were you able to understand anything Dimitri was talking about? Were you able to get past?
I
through the
had
Greek
to watch
accent?
it like 3 times, Phil.
I understand.
But
Okay,
I finally got it. Yeah,
that
I
makes
finally
sense.
got it.
All right,
Exactly.
go ahead. Carry on with the
All right,
question.
so my question goes out to both, and this may be a tough one to answer, but my question was, what would you say has been your most defining moment in the vaping industry thus far? And you can say I haven't had that moment yet. That's a good answer too. I feel like you guys have done a lot more than some, so maybe there's been a poignant moment that you feel like has kind of cut the rug, so to speak.
When you accept somebody, do you swipe left or swipe right? I forget which one it is. It's when I swiped whichever way it was. It was when I swiped that direction when I saw Dimitri's photo. That was my defining moment. Okay. No, I would say for me, there's a few of them that I could call out. Right, the Pro Vari video, the Pro Vario video when I had the towel on my head.
Mm-hmm, I remember.
Right, I think that's one of them. Right, I think the DNA. What's I'm not remembering their software right now. The
Evolve.
eScribe.
Okay.
eScribe, sorry.
When I did the ridiculous 4-part novel on the DNA board with eScribe, right?
Yeah.
I think that when we went to China, first time and brought what was going on there to the American Vapor. When we created the Chinese Dimitri, what was the name of it?
Sevilla.
When we did Sevilla USA. And then when we released our first product. So I think there's a bunch of them and for different reasons, right?
Yeah.
No, that's good.
Yeah, for me, I'll take just 2. I won't be as extensive as Phil, but obviously the work that I've done in Tennessee with the state association is something that, if you look back in my bio in vaping, it's probably what I'm most proud of. I'm 36-0 against bills that would deter the industry in Tennessee. I started the first independent state association in the United States in 2014 with the Tennessee Smoke-Free Association, and about another dozen states followed my template to create that. But being undefeated all these years, especially this last year, which was a tough one, and having 0 restrictions in the state of Tennessee as far as vaping is concerned, we'll talk about no taxes, no flavor bans, nothing, is something that I'm very, very proud of. And then, when me and Phil put our name on an atomizer, even though our Zenith and Slide tanks are not very, very popular here in the United States, in Europe, people don't understand, we've sold over 2 million Zenith tanks.
Yeah.
I mean, we've sold a lot of stuff. In Europe, our products, anywhere you're going to go, you're going to find Z coils. So to me, one of my proudest moments is when me and Phil were in Greece a couple of years ago, and we were just, walking, or we were in a coffee shop or something like that. And then we looked next to us, and there was like a 67-year-old lady that was using the Zenith tank, and I turned to him and I said, like, look,
That's awesome.
and this happens all the time in Europe. Like, we see it everywhere in France and UK and Greece and stuff like that. But to me, it's one of my proudest moments to see that this atomizer in Europe has helped so many people quit smoking. But it's also been very profitable for the vape stores, because the idea that me and Phil had is, we're going to make one coil and we're going to make 10 different products that can fit it. We're not going to keep changing coils. These vape shops are getting screwed by Smock and all these other companies.
How much, as a vape shop and former vape shop employee, how much I loved when you guys did that. That was like life-changing, to not have to order 5 coils for one tank when next week there be a new version that has 5 more new coils. I mean,
companies follow that. So if we set the tone for that, we're proud of it. And I'm seeing, Vupu and Vaporesso and other companies follow it now. I think that's a good thing. That's the way it should be, okay? Because especially one of the mistakes that a lot of the vape shops do is they start bringing everything in, and then at the end of the year, they do an inventory and they don't realize they have to pay tax on this, 30,000 worth of stock that they have, and the stock, all the money is tied up in these coils. So having the Z coil be so versatile, and now it's become more versatile with a 0.3 ohm coil. What we hear from a lot of the vape shops in Europe is The Z coil is priced at €2.50, which is approximately $2.75 in dollars, $2.75. They have a good profit margin. It's a easy coil for people to use. Every store packs it, and everything that we put out is compatible with it. So they really like that, and that's one of the reasons why we were very successful with those products.
Yeah, Tommy boy, got your question?
Yes, I do. Lost my train of thought. Which is weird. I just heard the train.
Yeah, you just heard the train. That's what did it.
There's a gentleman in chat that is a big fan of both Phil and Dimitri, and I'd like to give him a quick shout out. He's also helped me when I first started vaping 5 years ago. His name's Zeppy. So thank you, Zeppy, for helping me and for being here tonight. And thank Phil and Dimitri also. My question is, if vaping was gone next week, like completely just gone, what would you both do next?
Design sex toys.
Yeah, I was gonna say Phil's gonna say stripper or
I'm not
club owner.
He's very versed in sex toys. I'm not lying.
No.
If any Chinese companies are watching, okay, because I know you make them all, right? I have a lot of good ideas. Please contact me. Okay?
Eyebrow Anakin. That's what we call it after.
Yeah. The question is, though, Phil, will you be reviewing those products on YouTube? That's the question.
Oh God,
that's a tough. I probably wouldn't be able to go into as much detail as I do with the current vaping reviews. You can understand that, right? You can understand that. But I would probably have some pretty good insight. I would like to. If you're talking about reviewing,
tear them down.
I would love to review kitchen gadgets. I'm a kitchen gadget guy, right?
Oh yeah. I
enjoy doing that. I enjoy home automation. I'm really big in home automation. I love that. Dimitri will tell you, like when I'm talking to my house all the time, most of the time arguing with my house. But, So I really don't know. Let me tell you something. There's a big part of me that wishes that the most complicated question that I would have to ask during the day is, would you like fries with that?
Would you?
Yeah. So maybe it's something more simple at this point. I don't know. But I honestly don't know what would be next.
Question from Maddie: will they be pink? And can we make them hippie friendly?
Yeah. Can we make them like a different array of pink ones? I mean, vaping kind of is more male dominant. Sex toys tend to be more female dominant. Can we do like pink, like my headset? A little bit of glow in there.
Maddie, I think you hit the nail on the head. Sex toys are very female oriented. I think guys need some sex toys. Right? Like a whole line of guys' sex toys, right? I also want to do. Oh boy, I don't want to give that idea away.
Can we also make them earth friendly too, where they're like can be biodegradable in the landfill, so we're not contributing to the environment?
I'm telling you, you
got to be careful where they biodegrade. If you know what I'm saying, right? Because you don't want to stick it in and it never comes out again. You understand what I'm saying, right? Does that make sense? I can't believe we're going down this path.
Yeah,
RGB toys.
But Maddie, it's funny that you brought that up. Like 6 months ago at Anakin, we made a decision to go all eco-friendly packaging. Like nobody talks about, right? But
that's awesome.
People talk about it, right? In Europe, everybody talks about it, but here in America, like nobody brings it up. Like we have no plastic. Even our pack of coils, that come in a box. Even the coils themselves, that we have them in these biodegradable little paper containers now. We don't use any plastic in our devices and all the packaging that comes inside. So I'm with you. So we need to definitely save the planet. I'm with you on that. Back to the question though that Tom had. I think I had an idea of, I've been in the restaurant business all my life. So I thought about, we opened Phil and Dimmy's, and it will be, the concept of the restaurant will be half the menu will be Italian, because Phil is Italian, and half the menu will be Greek. And then we'll have, you can choose either or when you come inside the restaurant. We have a nice bar. We have Greek wine, Italian beer. And on bonus, you get a cranky Phil Bizarro at the cash register too when you go pay. I think it's a good idea.
I'll come out and sing or some shit like that. Dimitri, if you move to Florida, because I'm trying to get you here, I would do that with you in a heartbeat. Let's do it. Come on.
I would go visit that restaurant.
I've worked at Italian restaurants, and for some reason, I can see Phil, the guy, hovering over the table, asking you constantly how the meal is.
Yes.
And also the guy who says, "Well, it's not that good," who gets like wildly pissed off. Get the fuck out of here! What do you mean?
He always has his hand. He always has his hand in between the buttons of his shirt, so he's always like this. Hey, how's everything going? You guys good? You need some more wine? How about some bread? You need some bread?
So if you did that and had half on each menu, would you actually create like a special on the very top that says the DP special on it? Or you would actually be able to pick one of each?
I don't know if we would go that deep as a DP, but definitely go for romance. I think we would go. I think we'd do like the Phil and Demi special. Yeah, I think that's good.
Yeah, you gotta have
Dimitri said, when it comes to either of us, neither of us are going that deep. Just want to put that out.
Combined, we're not going.
I guess with your sex toy line, maybe.
Yeah.
But not me and Dimitri.
So we can't call it meatballs deep or something like
Meatballs.
Nothing deep about it. Listen, I have seen Phil's.
that?
Oh, here we go.
Okay, I don't know if you know the story, but I have to bring it up real quick.
Oh, Christ.
When we were, me and Phil have never been naked in front of each other. I don't know if you want to hear that, but I'm just telling you, it just never happened for some reason. We always think different. Huh?
I'm kind of shocked, to be honest.
Not. Hey, listen, not for me. I don't care. I'm wearing my underwear all the time when I see him. I don't care, But it's like Phil has this obsession. He's like, no, we're not going to be naked because he thinks that maybe I'm just slightly bigger than him. And if I am,
Here's the thing.
I'm
Okay,
never
look.
gonna let him live it down. So
That's key. If he's literally that longer than I am, I will never hear the fucking end of it. All of this will be brutal. I just don't want to deal. I just don't want to deal with it.
Hey, Phil, the vaping industry is all about millimeters. You know that. So.
Absolutely. So we're in France, and I'll just shorten this story up real quick. But we're in France, and Phil hurt his back. He has a problem with his back, but this was the worst I've ever seen him in all of our traveling. Like he'll take a couple of pills and he'll be okay. This time he was not okay. So we're getting up to go to an event, and we go out to the car. He gets in the car, and it just locks up. He starts screaming. I mean, he was in pain. I got really, we're in France in the middle. I don't know where we are. We had a tour of like 7 shops in 8 days. So we're moving, hotel every day. So this is like the third day, and he just couldn't move. So the French team that we have there says we're going to call an ambulance. So they call an ambulance, and they take him to the hospital in France. And we get there. Now you have to understand, this is socialized medicine, right? It's free, so you're not going to get Mayo Clinic service. Okay, you're going to get some hood service there. Okay, it's really, really bad. It's like 5 nurses for 100 people.
Yeah.
So they don't have any rooms, so they put him on a gurney, and they just put him in the hallway. They just left him there in the hallway. So I finally get I went to the event, and then I finally get to the hospital, and I walk inside, and they have given him morphine. They have given him all kinds of drugs. He's sitting on his back, and he's just frustrated. And I'm thinking to him, I don't know what to do. Like, do I take him like evacuate him with a private jet and take him back? I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
So the doctor says, hey, listen, before we give him any more pain medicine, we need to do an X-ray, and we need to take some urine from him. So, but Phil can't get up. He's laying on his back on the gurney, and he can't get up to go pee.
Here it comes.
And I said, hey, let me tell you what kind of friend you have here. I'm going to collect your urine. So we push him back. We find a room that's empty. I push him back. I go get the cup from the nurse. We close the door. The first thing that Phil tells me, I swear to God, like he doesn't care, like he's in France dying. The first thing he tells me is like, hey, buddy, it's a little bit cold in here.
You gotta go to the cold.
Gotta get that out of the way.
So then I tell him, I said, Phil, okay, look, it's very simple. Because he's laying on his back. I said, you're gonna open up your pants, you're gonna pull it out. I'm gonna come with a cup, and I'm gonna come and just capture some pee. That's all you got. Just take it. Easy peasy. So he puts up his pants, and then I get the cup, I position it, right, and he's, he starts to pee a little bit, and all of a sudden, he hasn't peed all day now. They've given him all his IVs and all that, and all of a sudden, it's like geyser going on. It's like shoot, just stop. So he squeezes and he stops midway his pee, which is the most painful thing I've ever done it. I take a cup, I put it on the counter, and I find a duck there, or whatever they call, a pan that they. I don't know if anybody used it before. I didn't really care. I just took this pan and I went over there and just shoved it. I was like, there you go. And then he's like, So the moral of the story is that friendship like that, like something that would catch your pee, I mean, those friends don't come along.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
It's a funny story, but you know what? Dimitri and I have shared a lot together. We've traveled all over the world together. We've been to, like amazing restaurants. We've been to shitty restaurants. We've seen amazing things. We've seen terrible things. I've shared more with Dimitri than I think a lot of people will ever experience in their lifetimes, and I'm very grateful for that. I always said that I'm a regular, simple guy, right? Somebody said before they're a fan of me and Dimitri. Anybody says that they're a fan, I always say the same thing. Don't be a fan, be a friend. Who the fuck am I to have fans, right?
Yeah.
So to have experienced what I have experienced because of vaping, and because of really the people who are watching right now, the people who have allowed me through watching my videos to become who I am today in vaping, I'm forever humbled and forever grateful, guys. I mean, it means a lot to me, and it means a lot that Dimitri caught my pee in a cup.
Friend.
It's really been an amazing ride, and I just wished if like I could have one wish, it would be I wish that we could have the mentality here in the States that they have overseas, right? Where you have support for vaping, where you have recommendations from doctors for vaping, where you have vape shops in hospitals, where you have soccer teams that are supporting.
That's amazing. I'm still blown away by that. That's amazing.
Huge deal. I mean, in Europe, it's like basically going to an NBA or
that's Sunday,
big in Europe, right?
I mean, every TV is tuned to soccer.
Yes, Europe is very, very soccer friendly. It's just basically like going to a football field and running an ad or what we are calling "Make the Switch" kit, which is a scepter with 2 bottles of liquid all packaged up together. And then in France, we're doing the same thing with Alpha Liquid. We made a new kit that has the slide tube with 2 bottles of liquid. Again, starter packs. You're going to go in. You everything that you need is included in the pack, including videos that we do. So having be able to run that on TV and then in the stadiums with thousands of people watching, and during this month, which is Stoptober in UK, people are encouraged to quit smoking. Is a very huge. We're very, very proud of it. Very, very proud to be working with Anakin too.
Yeah, Madison's got a question for you, Maddie.
Back to the dildos.
I was going to say they technically answered my question, so I'm going to ask the other question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So this is to both of you. Did you guys struggle transitioning from smoking to vaping?
That's a good question. You want to go first?
Because mine was easy. Absolutely not. I was what they call an automatic switchover. Me and my wife in 2010 ordered the couples kit from So you get 4 stick batteries and 10 cartomizers, pre-filled obviously, and 2 for the husband, 2 for the wife. That's why it's called a couples kit. We paid $150 for a 90-mile battery. The money is irrelevant because when it came in, I read the instructions, I charged it up, I screwed on the cartomizer, took 1 puff, never touched another cigarette in my life. 8 packs in my carton, because both me and my wife would buy them in cartons at the time. 8 packs, I might never touch them again. I smoked natural American Spirits in the end there. My wife smoked Marlboro Ultra Lights. It was extremely easy for me. Like the transition was extremely easy. I was done immediately. And this is why I was so fascinated with the product. I was like, wow, like this product can help, change the course of public health over the next 100 years. This is amazing. And when I started doing videos in 2011, that was my goal. If you look at my early videos, well, you can't say them anymore, but my early videos, I had like classical music playing in the background because I was trying to be that 40-year-old guy that quit smoking, which is rare on YouTube. You see 20, 22-year-olds, it's fuck this shit, whatever, all that. I was trying to be more mature, I was like, look at this. Like, I quit smoking with this product, right? So it was very, very easy for me.
Well, you also had a nice white background too.
yeah.
It was classy.
So I'll go ahead and answer the question. By the way, if Dimitri buys a couples kit today, it's not for him and his wife, it's for him and me. Just want you to know. Kit today. It's actually a very, very similar story. But I'll go a little bit before that. Is that I did all the usual stuff. I did the patches, the pills, the gums. Chantix, I think Chantix was great for like the wildest, freakiest dreams that I ever had. Did nothing for smoking though. Yeah. I quit once using sucker sticks, lollipop sticks. I would buy just the sticks, right? And I would chew on them, and the spitballs were my ashes, and it acted like a cigarette because it would get shorter and shorter and shorter. It was paper, it was cylindrical. I was able to quit using that. And I think the longest period of time was a year when I was off of cigarettes, and then my grandmother died. And when she died, I went back to cigarettes. Like it was like I never even quit. It was just it's that thing that comforts you, that kind of goes on the journey with you. And there it was. My buddy was back, right? And the first drag, I was hooked again. But then it was mostly because of my father, because my father had a heart attack when he was 36. Thank God he's still with us. But his doctor basically told him, well, you need to, because he was a pipe smoker, a tobacco pipe smoker. And the doctor said, well, you can continue to smoke, but you're going to die. So, I mean, that's pretty good, motivation right there. And he was always with me. When are you going to quit? When are you going to quit? When are you going to quit? Like, it got annoying, right? So I was like, all right, I got to do something. And I heard about electronic cigarettes, and I started to research them. It's amazing. There wasn't that much research back then, but it's amazing how much I researched, even though I knew cigarettes were killing me. Right? I wanted to make sure vaping wasn't going to kill me tomorrow, because I knew cigarettes would kill me 50 years from now, but I wanted to make sure vaping wasn't going to kill me tomorrow. So everything I read was good, and I still have it. This is it. This is my proof of concept kit. Right? Wow. This is the first thing that I bought. And it's called eHealth cigarette, and it's got this little charger thing that comes out the side right there, and it's just a stick battery with a bunch of cartridges. And I got this, and I charged it up, and I put it in my mouth, and I took a drag, and I was like, oh, and then vapor came out. I was like, there's something to this, because that's what this was, proof of concept, right? I said, there's something to this. This could potentially work. Now let me investigate and research something a little bit better for myself. And I think the first thing I found, which was getting good, positive reviews back then, was a Joy 510. Joy 510. That was my first electronic cigarette. And everybody knows, if you're quitting back in 2009 with a Joy 510, you are a dedicated motherfucker. Okay? The technology wasn't that good. The vape wasn't that good, right? You always kind of struggling, trying to make it better with things like blue foam and Lipton Pyramid tea bags, right? But it worked. It worked. And the day that I puffed on that Joy 510 was the day that I never had another cigarette, except for one. And then I learned my lesson. I was on vacation, and I didn't bring enough e-liquid with me. Right? And this is no such thing as a vape shop. Right? I go to the vape shop, buy e-liquid. They don't exist. Yeah. I gotta wait until I go back home and order my Decang, and it comes in from overseas. Yeah. Right. And that's what I learned. And I was like, I'm having a nicotine fit, right? I gotta have a cigarette. So I took a puff on a cigarette. I was like, oh my God, that tastes like shit. I put it out. I suffered through the rest of the vacation until I got back home, and I got my e-liquid again. But yeah, that was it. July 7th, 2009, with the Joy 510. And I have not had a cigarette since. Nice. Yeah.
Awesome.
All right. My question is for both of you, because I don't know if you guys ever touched on the relationship with Inikin, but how did that all get started with you guys? I mean, was it something Inikin approached you guys, or did you guys approach Inikin with your thoughts and ideas? How did that all come about?
You want me to go ahead?
Yeah, you can go ahead. I'll jump in if I need to.
So a lot of people don't know that me and Phil have been doing R&D work for Chinese companies since 2013. We were always in the background. And a lot of it was Phil. The company that we worked for before Inikin doing R&D was Kanger. And at the time, I told Phil in 2015, if I'm not mistaken, or 2014 or 15, I told Phil, I said, Phil, we need to put our name on a product. We're doing all this work. We're making these guys millions of dollars. You know, a lot of people don't know that the Kangaroo sub tank was Phil's idea. I mean, they sold
The best tank ever.
I mean, they sold tons. And what did Phil get? You know, we got roasted duck in China one day. That was good. But, so we did a lot of R&D work, and we were always a little bit concerned. Phil mostly was concerned because he's like, you know, I have this YouTube channel, and I don't want people to say that I've sold out. And I'm like, dude, everybody by that time, everybody had, you know, all reviewers had a product out, right?
So like crazy.
So what happened is that we saw Kangaroo was taking a really steep turn. Like
they wouldn't listen
for a few years. And we were telling them to, you know, fix some things before they put it out, but they were always push, let's put it out. And we just saw that it's not going to work out, because if a company does not listen, I mean, we could probably stay there and just get money, I guess, but it's frustrating as a vapor, because we're not just a business, we are vapors and we use the products.
Right.
So we left Kangaroo in 2017, and, you know, Kangaroo's pretty much irrelevant at this point. But when that happened, we were kind of like free agents, if you want to call it. We're not the type of people to go to a TOFO and then go to Lost Vape and go, you know, we're just not that kind of people. Our goal was to help people quit smoking and put products out that can continue to help people. You know, would it make sense for me and Phil to go work for Smoke at the time in 2017? Of course not, right? Because we're not, you know, that
wasn't your style of vaping.
So 3 companies approached us seriously, which was Inikin, Joytech, and Aspire. And in China, we met with all 3 of them, and we sat down and we said, this is what we have in our heads as a concept of what we want to do. And Inikin just made sense, you know, for various reasons. But the biggest reason is that through all this journey, Inikin has never forgot about the smoker. That was the most important thing, I think, for me and Phil to make that determination. And the products that we want to design, obviously, are geared towards smokers. So it just made a really, really good fit. Inikin's been a great company. We've been great friends with him since the early. Phil knew George back when George worked at Vogue, you know, with Acardos. I mean, since 2000. I mean, it's a long time, right? So we've built a really good relationship with George and James. So we just we signed on with Inikin for 3 years, and now we just renewed for another 3 years. And our goal with Inikin, again, obviously, is to have the platform series products for the products that we design, but we also try to help them in R&D some of their products as well too. So we try to be kind of like brand ambassadors to them, but also try to bring a little bit of the westernized, you know, thinking, you know, in the company, which is rare in China. I mean, you guys have seen some of the. You know, you buy a Chinese device and you try to read the manual. It's just horrible, right? You know, so it just made sense for us, and that's how we decided to go with Inikin. Bill, you want to add anything? Did I leave it?
No, you nailed it. I mean, you really did. You know, one of the things that we've seen in China is that everybody smokes in China. Like, their largest customer base is in their backyard if they could market the product the right way, right? Inikin George is the only owner that I know that actually vapes. Like he's a vapor. He's really a vapor. And he got his family off of cigarettes and into vaping. You know, one of the stories that I always tell, one of the things that we do behind the scenes, like we share emails. When somebody quits with an Inikin product and one of us gets an email, we share those emails, you know, privately. And I remember we shared one of those emails, and we were in China. We were in China working on products, and George was sitting at his desk, and he saw the email come through, and he backed up, and he goes, this makes me very proud. He goes, this makes me very proud that he's basically like we're leading people to health, right? Yep. So that mentality, yeah, look, China's also all about making money too, absolutely. But it's nice to at least know that mentality exists, truly exists, in the company that we're working with, right? So,
Anthony, I'm sorry. Do you have any questions? You weren't on the list, but
well, I was just tuning into your guys' questions. You guys were filling in all the blanks there, but I did have one question for you guys, which is, what do you think was, you know, what product or what change in the market, you know, was like the most dramatic, like negative event that happened to vaping? Like, do you think it was, sub tanks and sub ohm vaping? Do you think it was, switching to cheap 120 mils? Was it dual pods? Was it disposables? What do you think there was like that one thing where you're like, you knew right away that this was going to be a big impact on vaping negatively?
You want me to go? Let me go first on that one, Dave.
Go ahead.
All right.
Okay, Phil's ready.
Yeah. And this is interesting because this product it did two things. It propelled vaping, and it also propelled vaping in a bad direction, right? Make no mistake, I fully acknowledge the fact that if there weren't the clouds and the cloud competitions and the hype and the craziness, that the industry would not have grown as big as it did. The problem is, as it was doing that, we lost sight of the smoker. We forgot about tobacco harm reduction, and it was just about the clouds, right?
Yep.
And I would say the aspired Lannis.
Yeah.
That'd be it.
Yeah, and I mean, that was such a great tank for everyone too. That was one of the first, super easily available 30, 35 watt tank that you could get out there. Really made sub-ohming, available to the normal person that wasn't building coils.
What was interesting about that tank is that a lot of people did not like the fact that tank was on the market. Like the people that were, drilling out their own drippers, and the people that were into their own builds, and the people that were like working on the fact that I'm making a giant cloud, like, what? Now they just go buy one?
Right.
That's not right.
That's not right. Yeah.
So, but I think to me, it would be the inspired Lannis. Yeah. And again, for two different reasons, right?
I think the fact that we didn't have the balance, like all the products that have come out, I call them innovation. No matter how you vape, whether you vape at 16 watts like me and Phil, or whether you vape at 160 watts, you're still not smoking, right? So I think every product that has come out, even disposables, are innovation. Okay, it's a reduced harm product. I think the lack of balance in America, and in generalized in the retail sector, I think that lack of balance is probably the greatest mistake. So you could walk at any vape shop in 2017, you are not going to find a starter kit. I mean, the starter kit at the time, again, a lot of people forget because there's a lot of new vapors that have come out in the last couple of years, but the starter kit of 2017 was the Alien with a Baby Beast tank, two 18650s, a charger, and a 3 gallon of 3 milligram nickel. That was the starter kit in America.
Yep, 100%.
Listen, Smock made millions, right? They from nowhere, they went from zero to hero immediately, and got
they did
a lot of money. But the problem is, and I will tell you this because I have 3 vape shops in Greece. I have talked to ex-classmates of mine that tried vaping in that era, and it didn't work. That is the biggest tragedy. The tragedy is when somebody comes into a store and drops $100 on the setup, leaves happy, goes home, is sucking on this thing. They're not satisfied. They're not getting enough nicotine. It's too airy. It doesn't mimic a cigarette. They're not guided correctly, and that person goes back to cigarettes. That, I would love to have the data. How many people in America have gone back to cigarettes? Right? I think that is the biggest problem, that we didn't have that balance. Like, bring in your sub-ohm tanks. And if you have 5 sub-ohm tanks, have 5 MTL tanks as well, too.
Yeah.
You're not bringing them in. China says there's no demand. Nobody's making them, right? The Aspire Nautilus was the only tank on the market for the 6-7 years straight. Great tank, helped a lot of people. And this is the reason why me and Phil made the Zenith, is let's put another tank out there that's MTL, right? And then when we made it, everybody's laughing. It's like, oh, everybody's going to, nobody's. And look now, everybody's in.
Yeah.
It's a hype again, right? So,
yeah, and I think you're right. When the Nautilus was kind of the king of MTL there, really the only other way to get that kind of vape was to build your own, to, use K-Fun or to build some kind of MTL RDA or something along those lines, but there wasn't really like a Nautilus starter kit, or, maybe it was like just the pen battery with the Nautilus, but so many more people were using, that Baby Beast V8 stick or something like that. And I mean, that was just the bright, shiny one that everyone was like, oh, you send your friend in there and that's what they're going to get. And that's what they're going to start vaping. But that doesn't work for everyone. You got to have those different options because people really want that tighter draw and want to be able to use a higher nicotine level. 6 milligrams, not going to cut it for them.
I'm going to tell you, Anthony, how many people between 2011 and 2014, when the boom of vape shops, quit with a Kanger EVOD and 24 milligram liquid? I mean, millions.
Yeah,
millions.
right.
And I'm not saying it works for everybody. Okay, there are some people that do require sub-ohm, but I will tell you that's a very, 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 very small percentage. If you compare the action of smoking to the product,
Definitely.
all these vape shops were selling ego kits and eVods like crazy. And this is where the boom happened. The real boom happened. That's how vape shops opened up, by selling these products and converting people. And now we come into 2017 and people tell me I don't have demand for 12 milligram.
Yeah.
Forget 24, right?
Right.
Right? They don't have demand for 12. So that to me says, okay, well, we created this database of consumers in America, 3-4 million passionate vapers. And now we're all going to turn our attention and say, all we're going to sell is to these people. Yeah. Well, if these 3-4 million, if 1 million goes back to smoking, then you don't have any new customers. You know, your business is going to fall off. And that's what we saw. And it's so discouraging, man. It's like we had the opportunity, especially in America with 40 million smokers, we had the opportunity to 10 years unregulated before the PMTA. Let's not forget about it. 10 years unregulated industry. We had the opportunity to convert, 10, 15, 20 million people, and we squashed it because the last 4 or 5 years we focused on the vapor. In Japan, where they launched the IQOS, where Philip Morris launched the IQOS. Now, granted, they don't sell nicotine liquid in Japan, but at the time we didn't have IQOS here in America either. In Japan, in the first year of the IQOS, they captured 10% of the smokers, and we're talking about an Asian country where half the people. Yeah. They captured 10% of the smoke. We haven't captured 10% of the smokers in America in 10 years.
Yeah.
Right.
So what does that tell you? Is that we lost direction as an industry. It was frustrating for me and Phil, mostly because me and Phil, we stuck to it, man. We've been we were walking around in Vegas at a show, and we were using the K-Fon, and people were looking at us and laughing, calling us dinosaurs. And you're vaping at 14 watts. Yeah. And then I turned to him in Vegas. He'll tell you. I turned to him in Vegas and I said, "We're fucked."
Yeah. Madison, you had your hand up. You want to say something?
Oh, no, I feel exactly what he's saying. I mean, I started vaping in 2008, blue e-cigs, you had to buy an order. And throughout the course of time, I've struggled with sticking to vaping because it was not this customizable thing. Either the nicotine was too strong because I was what you call a chain smoker. Mm-hmm. And so I needed that hand to mouth. And so I couldn't do it with that high milligram of nicotine they were selling in the beginning. And it just still continues. And it's amazing to see how much farther we have, which is why I've been able to stick to it now. But I definitely get everything you're saying. I've struggled nonstop with vaping for.
The thing, Maddie, is that you quit smoking, and then you went on the journey, and you start to experiment yourself. This is the beauty about vaping. But first, you got to quit smoking. You can't get somebody from A to Z without going through the steps in between. Right. And everybody was trying to get everybody to point Z, but point Z is not a harm reduction tool. It's after you quit smoking that you can go to B, C, D, and all those. And wherever you end up, if you want to end up building trinoceros coils after 6 months, who cares? You have quit smoking.
You quit?
First, we got to get you to quit smoking. Yeah. Then, even from vape shops, from a business standpoint, I will tell you, because this is how I run my store. Phil will tell you. You go into my stores, I sell people $25 starter kits. Enduras with 12 or 18 milligram 10 ml bottles of liquid, and I said, you don't have to spend 50. And people want to give me, they're like, I saw my buddy, he had this set up, and I'm like, no, we're not going to
need it.
This is what you're going to get. And then take the money that you're spending on cigarettes, put it to the side, and then come back in 2 weeks. If you want to buy something, you can buy it then. And people come back and they're like, I can't believe you didn't get me out. And I quit smoking. Like, that's the main thing. I quit smoking. Right. Then, from a business standpoint, this person, number one, is loyal to you. Okay, they're loyal for at least for a year or whatever, or maybe 6 months or whatever. They're going to be loyal to you, and they're going to come and spend more money because then they're going to want to get an upgrade and get something bigger and a different tank and stuff like that. But here's the most important key: every new customer in Greece brings me 10 people in a year. This is fact, because I'm a data, a huge data guy. They bring me 10 because. He'll bring me his brother, his friend. His friend will ask him, "Oh, you finally quit smoking? How did you do it?" And I did it with this. I went to Liquid Puff, whatever. So I get 10 new customers. Now, if 2 of those people quit smoking with me, that's another 20 customers.
Yep.
So that's how the flow of new people come in, by not guiding them wrong and being experts at what we do. We are nicotine experts. That's basically what we are, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think a lot of shops kind of just fell off on that, where it wasn't about getting the person into the right product to quit smoking. It was about getting the product into their hands that's going to make them the most money.
Absolutely.
And you're right. I mean, at my shop, we really focused on making sure that these people were getting products that they're going to like. And they would come in like, I want to spend $200 today. My friend's got this set up, and you go, hey, like, have you tried vaping? Oh no, like. It's a lot of money to invest in that. Like, you could probably quit smoking with this $25 device, this $50 device. And that person will come back and, now that they've quit smoking, they just have built that value with you and that trust with you in your shop, that they're going to come back and they're going to tell their friends. And, they do come back. And, I totally believe, if you have one good customer like that you built that trust with, they will bring in 10 more customers. It's just sad to see, the shops, how we had such an explosion of so many shops where, at first it was, shops that were made by people who vaped, people that generally vaped, and they quit smoking. They think it's a great idea. Now they open a shop. For a while there, after that, it kind of turned into people like, oh, I can just make a bunch of money from vapor products. And those people, creating those sources really kind of saturated the market and changed it into a whole different beast than what it really should have been.
There's one thing that I want to add there. I think sometimes the problem comes within the industry as well, too, meaning the consumers, because I can't tell you how many times I have seen this happen, even in Greece. You have one guy that's vaping, on this, and he looks at the other guy that's using the Endura and tells him, what are you using? This is the best setup, because that's what he's using, right?
Right.
This is what you need, right? And we got to stop this, folks. As vapors, stop doing that. Ask the question to the smoker that are serious.
Yeah.
How much do you smoke? When do you need the cigarette most? Where do you work to see what kind of device you're going to do? These are the questions you should be asking, not telling him this is the best setup, because this is what we see all the time. And this happens from our, within our community, let's say. We got to stop doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think we project in a lot of ways. I mean, I'm not pigeonholing any of us, but I think that's the thing. It's projection. It's like they see somebody with something that doesn't look as exciting or as powerful or can do as much stuff, and then they think that person who is using something that's working to help them to quit smoking feels like they're missing out on something. I mean, and there are a lot of people that they get into vaping and they get sold something that is relative and what they should be doing, and sometimes even those avenues don't work. So, there's just a lot of bad information that comes in, and then they talk them into some crazy thing, and then they just throw their hands up and completely walk away. We were just talking about this earlier today in another medium where people were, I guess, voicing some concern about the landscape of vape shops today. And a woman had some money she wanted to spend. She was already a vapor, but she walked in, looking to buy something, and she was completely disenchanted with the fact that the person working in the shop didn't even know about half the products that were behind them. They were standing at the counter as a representative for that shop and would say, oh, well, let me look that up. Like they were going to go to Google or something, or go to Element Vape's website and look at the specs or something. And I said, well, I think part of that comes with the fact that, as an industry, it's transitioned to this point where everything's become so user-friendly, plug and play. A lot of the knowledge base gets removed from it. Like people don't have to study it as much anymore. Maybe like we did. I mean, our journeys started with blues and went to ego sticks, and then went to K funds and all that whole mess. So we learned a lot along the road. Nowadays, people that get fresh into it, they just get regulated mod, sub-ohm tank, replacement coils, and they're off to the races. And then it's like that iPhone anomaly. It's like somebody walks in the vape shop, they're like, this is what you need. You know what I mean? They don't ask those burning questions. And I think that that's where some of it gets lost. But I don't entirely blame those people that work in the vape shops. I think where some of the fault lies with the person employing the people behind the counter.
Well, absolutely.
Sure.
I've got so much to say about all of this stuff.
Go
First,
ahead.
to Maddie, remember what I said earlier. When I quit back in 2009, you had to be you had to be really dedicated to the cause, right? Now, today, if you can't quit your cigarettes with everything that is on the market, considering how good everything is now, how easy everything is now, how satisfying everything is now, you don't want to quit. Period. Okay. There's no excuse anymore. Right. I also believe that the journey was important. I think it was important for a lot of people learning, growing, changing, coming up with the technology. It's almost like, who's going to be more successful switching to vaping? The person who wins a kit or the person who spends money, right? And I always think it's the person who spends money on the kit because they're vested.
They're vested.
We were vested in buying, in trying, in knowledge, right? That person is vested in money. But if you're just given something, use it. Who cares, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's part of it. Now, what Dimitri was talking about, like, you bring in one person, they're successful, more people come in. There's Dimitri and I did a seminar called Back to Basics that we went to vape shops and we basically trained employees on how to do this, right? On the questions to ask, on how to set up the shop, on how to position things, on literature that you should have at your shop. And we thought it was a fantastic seminar. A lot of people thought it was a fantastic seminar. There's vape shops that increased their revenues because they followed some of our ideas. Take a look at, if you ever have the opportunity, take a look at Alpha Liquid. Alpha Liquid were the promotion that we're doing right now in France with the Zly tube. Comes with Alpha e-liquids. Take a look at the vape shop that we visited with Alpha Liquid. We have a video out there, and look at their mentality and look at how they do things in their vape shop and look at how professional it is and how well done it is and the steps that they take you through if you are a smoker coming into the shop, right? I think if the mentality was that way here, if that was the model of the vape shop here, I think we would be in much better shape. And I think we would have a lot more customers. And remember, customers equals people not smoking anymore. Yep. Customers equals people vaping. That's a great thing. We work in a really, really unique, what do you call it? A really unique industry, right? Where we can save people's lives and make money in the process. I mean, that's terrific. That's terrific. So there's that. And there was something else that I was going to say, and I can't remember what that is, but I will think of it. And
I want to add something. If we did this in America, kids wouldn't be interested in it either.
Yeah.
Nope.
This is in Europe, we don't see this problem. And the reason why is because they're using it as a tool of harm reduction. No kid's going to wait 45 minutes to go through this process to get a vape. I want to say that right now. Right? But the accessibility is not the presentation of the product is a tool that their parents will use to quit smoking. And that automatically makes it not cool. It's just not cool, right? Cool. So I think that if we did that here, that we would be a little bit better as far as the attack that we're under for kids vaping, which is it's a ridiculous argument. It's the only argument that they have now at this point. The other thing I want to just add this real quick, and I'll end it. But me and Phil were doing the seminar at a vape shop. I won't tell you where, but we were in the West Coast, and we had the employees in the room. There's like 50 employees inside, and we were talking about the draw resistance for a smoker and mimicking a cigarette. And this one employee jumps up and she says, "That's wrong." And she said, "I quit. The only way that I could quit is sub-ohm vaping." And I asked her, I said, imagine if you're not a vape shop and you're a motorcycle shop. And I come in, I'm a new rider, and you want to sell me a Kawasaki Z1000. That's exactly what you're telling me. Just because that's what you use, right? Doesn't mean that your customer that comes in that's what they need. This concept is like people don't like the questions that you need to ask the customers. They're not educated. They're not trained to do it, and it's unfortunate.
Yeah, I'm gonna jump here to. I'm going to let Tom tell his question because he's got a lighthearted question, and I love to see this. I like to see this fight that you two are going to have here on this one.
I can't wait to hear it. Tom, just give me 1 second. First of all, I saw two comments come up. Slipknot, who's watching. Thank you very much on the Zenith. Thank you, Slipknot. And I saw another one, and I'm angry about it. Somebody said that the legal vape 3000 is the best vaping device. And that's why I'm angry about it. I'm angry about it because it's the legal vape 4000. Stop selling me short by 1000. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
I found him in Unicron's hole. Unicron's hole said that.
Yeah. Go ahead, Tommy.
Well, I guess that answers which question I was going to ask next. But
You know which one I
to
want.
both of you, which is better, Greek or Italian food?
Oh boy. Oh boy.
I'm waiting for this all week.
Now, see, this is going to be difficult because Dimitri was a restaurant owner of Greek foods,
And I cooked Italian at my place as well.
and Phil is just a consumer of Italian food.
You can't cook worse shit.
John, please ask Dimitri what the name of his restaurant was.
It was Portofino's Greek and Italian restaurant.
Oh,
Portofino's. That sounds Italian to me.
Yeah, I would. There's like a few Italian words I like to use right now from hearing that name. So.
Right? Just saying. Okay. All right. Go ahead, Dimitri. Go ahead.
I mean, obviously, Greek is better. I mean, once you go Greek, you'll eat like a freak. You know, I mean, it's just there's no look from a cuisine perspective. I think Greek is healthier. I think it's tastier. They use more spices for the foods that we serve there. Okay. We've had some amazing meals in Italy with Phil, and Phil makes a really good rosé sauce. You know, I've had that at his house as well too. It was very, very good as well too. But I mean, I would choose, not because I'm Greek. I just like Greek food better. And I think Phil does too. But he probably won't answer like that.
Okay, so Dimitri is an excellent cook. I will say that. I mean, Dimitri's been here to this house, and he's cooked me some amazing Greek meals. I mean, he's a fantastic cook. He really is.
Hold on a second. Here's the buddy card again. Okay, yes, I go to his house, I cook for all of us to eat, then I prep him meals and I put them in the freezer. Tell me, have you ever done that for your friends? Right now, tell me. I'll take a.
The only person who's done that for me is my mother.
That's not the little lunch bag with your name on it when you used to leave in the morning. Phil's.
Yeah. Right. Look, I'm working into this. So Dimitri's a good cook. I will say that when I've gone to Greece, Dimitri's also an excellent host. Not just from the food perspective, but also from just knowing the history of Greece, right? So when you're looking at a ruin, he understands the ruin. He can tell you a story about the ruin. That is one of, like, going to the Acropolis with Dimitri was one of the highlights of my life. It was a bucket list thing, and to be there with somebody who understood the history and could talk to the history too was fantastic. I will say that. Much better than when we went to look at the
I saw that video. I saw
Coliseum, and I knew nothing about it. I just kind of made up shit as I went along. Okay,
yeah, it was a great video, though. It was a great video.
The food that Dimitri has treated me to in Greece has been amazing, and I mean, truly, some of my favorite things. Like this one place that we go to, it's just a Greek platter. It's all these Greek meats and kebab and souvlaki and gyro and everything. It's really good, right? But I mean, I am Italian. I grew up Italian. I grew up with those, and it's really sad because a lot of the tradition is dying, right? Yeah. But I grew up like Thanksgiving and Christmas, it was just course after course after course. It was the antipasta and the shrimp, and then it was the pasta dishes, and then it was the main course, the meats and everything else like that, and then it was all the desserts and homemade. Everything was homemade. And it's so sad that we're losing that, but it's because of that, because of the tradition, because of how I was brought up, because of Nana and Mom cooking all the time. I of course I have to say Italian food. Right?
I'm taking you to McDonald's next time we go to Greece.
See, this is the see.
It's
I say
okay,
what
Phil.
a wonderful host he is. I say like we went to the Acropolis. Well, he like all the knowledge. And fuck you, Phil. Next time we're going to McDonald's.
It's okay, Phil. My son did the same thing in Rome. He's like, I'm done, Dad. Can we please find a McDonald's? And I just looked over at him like, are you serious? Are you serious? You want McDonald's? I want to.
Like we've obviously we've eaten at some amazing places because of the travels that we've done. And when we travel someplace, we typically want the local cuisine. We want to experience like what the locals are eating. I think that's I have friends and they'll want to go to China and they'll want to go to Kentucky Fried Chicken because they're afraid to eat anything, right? Whereas we're like the exact opposite. Now, I am a little bit more adventurous with eating than Dimitri. Like, okay, so like the first time we went to China, fucking embarrassing because every time he tried to pick up something with a chopstick, it would fall off. I mean, like, it was really, really embarrassing, right? I was much better with chopsticks. I even bought him like training chopsticks that were attached so that he could get used to it the next time he went to China.
I learned.
This is what happened in China, okay? He would wait. He wouldn't eat anything. I had to take it. I had to put it in my mouth and I had to chew it. Now, while I'm eating this, he would stare at me.
Yeah, see your reaction.
And he's looking for one of two reactions. He's looking for, that, which means, okay, it's safe to eat, or don't eat that. There's a lot of things in China where you take a bite and you're like, oh dear God, just chew and swallow, but we've also had amazing meals in China. Obviously the most interesting and different food.
The food
in China. In China, I think like 90% of the dishes as you're eating them, they're typically staring back at you in the plate. The eyes, the head, everything is there looking back.
The food is waiting for your opinion.
Yeah.
I'm going to do. We probably only have time for one more question, so I'm going to go throw it to Brian there, and Brian can hit you guys with the last question, and we'll do our goodbyes. Go ahead.
Wow. Okay.
A lot of pressure.
Yeah.
Pressure.
Right.
Better be a good one.
Well, one. I mean, so Anthony already kind of did one of mine. But what do you guys miss about the industry and why? Like, what are the highlights you guys miss about it? That is no longer here.
Let me go first and real quick right now. Okay. What I miss about the industry is just it's stagnant. I can't get out. I can't travel. I can't go meet vapers. I can't shake people's hands and hang out with people and talk and give them stories about vaping. I can't go up on stage and give talks and everything. It's a COVID thing. That's what I miss right now. That is what I miss about vaping.
Yeah. I miss the community feeling. It's just not what it used to be. The drama, the commercialization of it, it's just turned into you don't have that that online community between 2010 and 2012 when the vape shop started opening up. If it wasn't for that, I wouldn't be where I'm at. Like, I got so much help online, and so I think that community feeling needs to come back, especially in these trying times and these upcoming battles, legislative battles we're going to have in 2021. I think this is the most important time for people to come together again and try to become a force. And by force, I mean a voting block, a community support center, nicotine experts, and just helping out each other, man. It's just that to me, Bill always talks about like the first, vape bashes and vapor cons that we used to go. And, it wasn't all these huge booths with the booth babes and the midgets and the Coke and all that shit. It wasn't that, it was in a hotel room with, 20 tables. Everybody would sit in the middle and we'd learn, we'd talk to friends that we've met online and look at new things and talk and be that community. We're just not there anymore. It just doesn't happen anymore. I miss that a lot.
I feel bad. I want Tim to do one of his questions. Number 3, Tim, can you please do that?
Wait, after 11, Phil charges overtime. I just want to make sure you
real quick, because I know it's a good question. I really like to hear your guys' opinion on it.
Yeah, actually, I was considering skipping to that one, but since we're on the same wavelength, so to both or either, the question was, Which do you feel has a greater impact on the future of vaping? Federal intervention or local?
That's
and
very
state
easy. I mean,
government?
state government law goes into place, and local. Local can go the next day. State usually the same month. So local and state government is the most important. I think from a federal perspective, if you look at it, if we get some PMTAs approved, I think that's a good tool for us to use legislatively. I have always been a proponent of the PMTA, not as it stands, but get people to try to submit PMTAs, because I do believe that the FDA knows this product is less harmful than smoking, right? Yeah, we have to prove it. Unfortunately, that's the Tobacco Control Act. Don't blame me. I didn't sign it. Obama did in 2009. 10 years prior, it started to work on it. But state law is the most devastating for the industry because it happens immediately. Federal takes years, right? So state law is the most important, and it's disappointing to see that the state groups are not getting enough funding to do that. I mean, lobbying. I operate with about $90,000 budget a year here in Tennessee, with 0 employees. Okay, we're all volunteers. So lobbying, PR, and all operating expenses that we need is about $90,000 a year. I mean, think about it. If there's 300 vape shops in Tennessee, it's peanuts, and we can't get. We have 58 members, which is one of the strongest associations in the nation, which is ridiculous to even say that, but it is. We have 58 members that are carrying this load for the last 6 years, and we've been very, very successful. You need to do that into your state. You need to step up as a vape shop and support your state association. That's the most important right now, especially in 2021. You're going to see bills bans, flavor bans, taxation coming all across the United States.
It'll be back another year.
Let me go ahead and answer that question as well, and I will say what Dimitri said. Yeah, no, but I mean, it's true. I mean, it's really true. Like if federal can say, okay, flavors are okay, and that overrode all of the state decisions, then I would say, yeah, federal, but that's not the case. So it's got to be local. And I totally disagree with you too. I totally disagree with you. Pineapple does not belong on pizza. I don't care.
Thank you, Phil. Thank you. Thank you, Phil. Thank you.
I love it. Sorry.
Well, because you're Greek. There you go. Okay?
I thought we were not telling people what to like, okay? I thought we weren't doing that anymore.
No, look, taste is subjective until it comes to pineapple on pizza.
Yes, thank you.
It's a right or wrong thing, okay?
That is so wrong. Well, we're gonna start our goodbyes with Brian. Brian, go ahead.
Wait, hold on a second. Can we plug some shit here a little bit?
Yeah. You could plug everything. Well, I was listening to Dimitri.
I just want to talk about the Chroma Z. That's all.
No, I was listening to Dimitri because he said we had to pay you more after 11. So I was getting worried.
No, as long as you allow us to plug something.
Yeah, go ahead, Phil.
We're just gonna send the bill to Dimmy. It's okay.
Inikin is actually we're coming up to we're releasing like another round of products. We have a couple of products under platform. They're going to be releasing soon. There's a couple of things that we can't talk about. I know the Scepter, they just released a couple of new colors. The new black Scepter, this one, like the pop art Scepter. This thing is beautiful. I really think Inikin did a fantastic job with the looks of
that's sharp.
And the battery life. Yeah, there you go. And look at that. That's the limited edition right there.
Very, very limited.
Dimitri and I are both very proud that we've got the Aries 2 Limited out there now. It's funny. I didn't even see this. I'm always the last to know, and Dimitri makes fun of me about this all the time. I got very excited today because I saw that Aries 2 won best rebuildable on Vaping 360.
Oh, nice.
And I got all excited and I started sending this because we're Inikin starts pinging us about now because China they're working now. So when they're waking up, we're going to bed. It's always a challenge. And I'm like, hey, did you guys see this? And like the owner of Inikin said, yeah, about a month ago. I'm like, oh shit. Oh shit. I'm like, okay, all right. And of course, Dimitri laughed at me too, but that's okay. That's par for the course.
Yeah.
But so we do have the Aries 2 LE out there, the limited edition. And I believe it's November 2nd. We're releasing the Chroma Z. So we were talking about this before. We were talking about single coil, multiple devices. Okay. So now we have kind of a more today version of a pod device. The original pod device that we put out was the Beep. A little bit too big, a little bit too heavy for its time. It did okay. It didn't do what we wanted it to do. But now we've got the Chroma Z, which again is a Z coil pod device, right? So again, we're like it's like the Chroma R. So it's got the whole side is the fire button. So the screen is underneath the fire button, but it uses the Z coil. So now we've got the Zenith, we've got the Zenith Pro, we've got the Slide, we've got the Beep, and now we have the Chroma Z that all use the Z coil, with more to come.
Nice. What I'm really excited about, I just want to get my plug in there because we worked really, really hard on this. On these eco-friendly packaging, Maddie.
You made Madison very happy.
Coil. We're releasing a new coil with a Chroma Z that we've never released before. A lot of people, RDL, right? A lot of people have been asking for a warmer vape, and we finally were able to get a 0.3 mesh in this little coil right here. And
wow.
The 0.3 mesh, and you're going to see that it's gold. This is how we separate the RDL.
Very smart.
The MTL is chrome plated, and the RDL is going to be gold plated. So you're going to know. Outside every package, of course, has the type of material, the resistance, and everything that you need to have. But what I'm really, really excited about it, this is a Z coil that you can hit it at 35 watts. It's unbelievable. Such a small coil. I'm very, very proud of it. And so on this device, you can do MTL, and of course, you can do RDL. I'm running mine at 32 watts now on the Chroma Z, and the amount of vapor and the flavor that it produces is just fantastic for something small.
Yeah.
Oh, so
wow.
Fantastic.
So sexy.
Really good. So now,
So sexy.
because now look, 30 watt RDL is very, very popular right now.
Yeah.
It's like the people that even people that were vaping 100 watts, they've come down a little bit, probably because they were using 60 mils of liquid every 2 days, but come down a little bit to that 35 watt range. So we wanted to cover that with the release of this device, and we were able to do it and do it good. So the 0.3 ohm coil will be included in the Chroma Z, and then they're going to be available on the market soon.
Oh, nice.
How big a battery is
that coil will actually work in the Chroma Z and the Zenith Pro, because the Zenith Pro is set up to accept more air on here.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
So that's our plugs.
There you go.
Well, we're going to go ahead and start with Brian there at the top left. Brian.
Well, I don't know. I just want to thank everyone for coming on. It was a great show. Time flew. I mean, great conversation as always. Viewership is, I love talking to the people who are on the chat. It's a great time. And I just want to keep saying that, vaping is helping a lot of people, and let's just try to keep it.
Tommy boy.
I want to say thank you to Phil and Dimitri for joining us. It was great, and I'm sure we could have gone another few hours just listening to you gentlemen. Thank you to everybody in chat for tuning in. We'll be back next week. Thank you to Anthony for allowing us to be on this platform. Great panel, great guests, and goodbye. Good night.
Madison.
Well, thanks, Anthony and Phil and Dimitri. It was a pleasure talking to you guys. And I looked up, you have food grade plastic that is absolutely...
Yeah, she's all into that, guys.
Oh, yes. This is absolutely amazing. I am so happy that the vaping industry is trying to move more eco-friendly. I think that is absolutely amazing. And then also, to Indy in this Facebook chat, she does a fantastic job with educating people and customers. And even not working, she still does a really great job. So thanks, and keep up the good work.
All right. Tammy.
Why do I always have to go last?
I don't know.
Well, first off, I just want to say thank you very much for the first episode, for Phil and Dimitri for being here. You've played an integral part in all of our journeys along the road. So just to be able to be with you guys and become friends more and more is wonderful for us. Thank you, Anthony, and everyone at ZampleBox for allowing us to migrate over to this platform. I wanted to go into a little point and say that somebody brought up the point about missing the community. It was Dimitri who brought it up. And I think that that's what this show is really geared about. It's trying to bring back that sense of community and get everyone involved on the YouTube and the ZampleBox platform by allowing us to bring on important guests and get messages out to everybody, because we want that community sense of feel around the show. So that's what it's really all about. We're not doing this, we're doing it for our health, but we're doing it for your health too. because that's what we want to be able to share with everyone. So I thank everybody for tuning in. Please tune in again next week. Follow up on those calls to action. Use your voices. Get heard. Be loud. Don't sit on the sidelines. And beyond that, vape on, vape strong. We're back next week.
Yeah. I want to thank Phil and Dimitri for being our first guest on the show, and also thank them both for all they do for our community. I want to thank the ZampleBox team for giving our show this opportunity, and I want to personally thank Tony and Anthony for all their help getting this set up. And of course, my amazing team, Brian, Tim, Tom, and Madison. I couldn't do the show without them. They know what I went through. It's taken a year to put this team together, and I just couldn't do this without them. We promised to bring you a different type of vape show, one that showcases the individual personalities of our community, from advocacy, YouTube reviewers, influencers, to consumers, as well as vape shop owners, e-liquid vendors, and of course, hardware companies. So we look forward to being part of the ZampleBox family team for a long time. And if you're new to this channel, please hit the subscribe button and subscribe to the ZampleBox channel. This way you'll get notifications when new content is uploaded. And we'll see you guys next week at 6 p.m. For episode 2 right here on the ZampleBox channel. And anything you guys want to add there, Phil and Dimitri? And
thank you. Yeah, what I really wanted to do was, John, you approached me on the show, and that it was the first one on the new platform, and you wanted to have me and Dimitri, and that means a lot to me. Sincerely, right? I really appreciate that you thought of us for the first show. So thank you very much. Thank you guys for being really you're OG. I mean, ZampleBox has been around forever. I hope you continue to be around forever. I hope we all continue to do business, and I hope very, very soon that we are at some vape show somewhere, shaking each other's hands and drinking together. I really hope that happens very, very soon. Anthony, you too, buddy. Okay.
Tony's a pretty cool dude. So I'm going to leave you with this, because my advocacy hat always has to jump in. I'm going to read you a sentence of what to expect in 2021. Baltimore City Council President Brandon Scott is proposing a tax on electronic cigarettes as a way to discourage smoking. You hear that?
I just shook my head.
This is posted on the Baltimore Sun, baltimoresun.com, if you think I'm making shit up. This is the actual text. The city council president is proposing a tax on electronic cigarettes as a way to discourage smoking. So,
that's what we're battling.
All I'm saying is that the most important part in vaping is the consumer. The most important part. All the 3-letter acronym associations that are out there, whatever, whatever, they're there. But the most important part in vaping is the actual person that uses this product to stay off cigarettes. Please, please get involved. Stand up in your council meetings, contact your legislators, and tell them that they're taking away the one product that has made a positive effect in your life, that has helped you quit smoking. And if they're going to do anything to remove it from the market, that not only are they going to lose your vote, but they're also going to lose the trust of what we have in this so-called government of ours that takes money over people dying every year.
Yes. Good. All right, guys. Again, thank you. I'm going to end this broadcast. We'll see everybody next Wednesday for episode 2, and at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.